friends, and our weekly recap of The Floor. Friends joining me tonight are Eric, Kathy, and Devin from The Floor Season 3. This week's duels pitted veterans against newbies and continued to raise some questions about how someone could win so many duels and walk away with so little money in their pocket. Is being the whale a curse? Let's find out as we recap Season 3, Episode 9. Welcome, everybody.
Hey.
Hey.
Good to be here.
Hey, it's great to see all of you. Eric, you've joined us before. I'm so thrilled you're able to come back. And I'm super stoked that Kathy and Devin said yes tonight because the three of you really were the beginning, middle, and end of this week's episode. And I probably couldn't have picked a better panel to break down the whole week's episode. And that's basically what we're going to do. We're going to go through the duels. That's what we do a very quick recap. But all along the way, just try to have some chatter, some banter, and find out more about your experience on that show. So welcome, everybody.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Good
it's
to be
great
here.
to see you. And Devin, I'm thrilled that you kicked off this week. I was really excited. It seemed, as we discussed last week, that Shane may or may not have been a floor favorite, much less a fan favorite. So people seemed a little like womp womp that he was sticking around, and I think you saw to it that he didn't stick around very long. So it was kind of nice to see that duel kick off with you dominating your home category of road
Yeah.
trips. Do you want to walk us through how you felt getting up there and being picked? Did you anticipate Shane would challenge you? Take us back to that moment.
I can go by that point in the floor. I had decided I'm only studying two categories: billionaires and whatever Shane was on. That's where I was at that point in the game. And so like off camera, he's been looking at me trying to give me dirty looks and get me off my game. So I had a feeling that Shane would potentially challenge me at any point in the game. I was just hoping and wishing now that he had 120K that he would just come back to the floor and let it do his natural course. And so when he decided out the gate to say, hey, I'm going to go on a road trip to bodies of water, I was like, oh, you couldn't stand but one more chance to screw me over, my friend. One more chance. That's what I felt at the time because I knew it was a 9-duel day. And
Yeah.
I know how hard a 9-duel day is.
Yeah.
And if I was to be randomized, I didn't want to be duel number 1 on a 9-duel day where I could potentially become the whale.
Yes.
It's like a
Yes.
triple threat
Yes.
happening. And so when he chose me, you see me say, oh no. And then you see me saying, oh, it's been brewing. It's been brewing. And if you actually pay attention, I walked the wrong direction.
Well, you're right in the middle, and he's right next to you, so it's kind of
Yeah.
hard to know if you're going left or right at that moment.
Left to right. And so like everyone's patting me on my back like, yeah, yeah. You're going up there. And I'm like, no, this is whatever. But by the time I got up there, if you notice close attention, I'm smiling from ear to ear the whole time
That's what
I'm
I
up
think.
there.
Yeah. Was that a stress? Like, was that a defense mechanism for stress and anxiety, or are you just generally a happy sort?
No, I wear my emotions on my sleeve. I don't know if you've seen, my mom was like, the cameraman must really like you because every time they want the reaction shot, they went straight to my face. I knew at that point that I was going to eat this man alive, and he had made a wrong decision from picking me. I've been sitting on road trips for that long. I know what potentially could be on there.
Yeah.
And so I was like, oh, if you want to do this, let's
Yeah.
play. If you want
Yeah.
to play, let's play. That's
Let's
what Kendrick
play.
Lamar said.
Yeah.
So, and so I was ready. I was ready for him at that point. And I was also side-eyeing hit the big screen the whole time during our duel. And
Really?
yeah, I was looking. So when he missed Steak and Shake, I was like, it's a wrap for you, bud. It's a wrap for you, my man. And so I'm looking at stuff. So when I see Cadillac Ranch,
Yeah.
I started doing my teacher moves. I started nodding my head like, I know you know this because I saw you studying. Say the answer. You got it. Like I felt like I was doing small group reading. Like, yes, A is for apple. You got it. C, cats. You got it. You got it.
Yep.
And so, because at that point, I knew you wasn't going to beat the teacher. I knew you wasn't.
Yeah. Well, let me ask you. I thought Steak and Shake, to be fair, was a weird slide. It was a little ambiguous to me watching from home. I think it was a little difficult to make out what fast food restaurant it was in the moment, especially if you weren't in the fast food restaurant zone, and you were thinking more landmarks, biggest ball of twine kind of stuff, largest ketchup bottle in Illinois, stuff like that. But a lot of those, like Cadillac Ranch, are super iconic. And I think, you knew more because it was your category, whether you designed it or were given it, but you clearly were ingesting it prior to the show's filming and obviously in those first few weeks, because we're getting toward the end here, episode 9. It's been your baby. So you definitely had that home court advantage, and I think it showed. You mentioned that you're a teacher. Talk to me about that. What do you teach? I'm a teacher too, so I'm just
Yeah. Oh no. I've taught K through 8th throughout my career. But I currently teach 4th grade math and science.
okay.
So it was a joy just to have that on there. I just want to backtrack. My mom was laughing because she saw the picture I got on my side. She's like, "Yeah, we've been there. We've been to the Painted Desert. We've been to all these places." I'm like, everything I saw, I literally had been there before.
You
So it wasn't
literally had
even.
gone there before. That's fantastic. Yeah, I live on Route 66, St. Louis, Missouri. It's really kind of the car culture capital of the country in terms of westward expansion and road travel during certainly the mid part of the century. So we're very steeped in that around here. I also am from South Dakota originally. So while drug, I was screaming, while drug. And I know like 90% of America was like, the huh? And
No,
it's just such
no.
an iconic space. And then the Badlands were the last slide too. So it was nice to see South Dakota get some love. I'm just going to give a little shout out to the forgotten, hinterland of America. They do have some things worth seeing up there. So I thought that was pretty cool.
Angie, can I ask you a question?
You as much as you like.
Did I look like too much of a jerk when I did that little dance at the end of?
And let me tell you, that dance was delightful. Now, for folks who don't know the show, there's very little downtime. We're constantly kind of in motion, and it's a lot of hurry up and wait. It's basically like, the vibe. And there's a lot of still standing, and there's a lot of pain in the legs. And we do dance parties. I'm sure your season did as well. And we do these breaks, and people were doing all kinds of dance offs and moves and stuff. So I was used to seeing people kind of break it out. And it was neat that you got it on air. And I didn't think you looked like a jerk. I thought you looked like somebody who owned their category, was having a heck of a good time, and just along for the ride. So I'm going to go on record and say you got the moves. I thought it was great. Now, I don't know what your co-friends here want to say, your co-floor buddies, seeing it live, maybe it looked different, but the cut they gave us on air, I thought you looked great. Now, were you dancing because you sent Shane home, or were you dancing because you were advancing, or was it a little bit of both?
It was because of Shane. But I didn't mean to. It was like the
Spoken like a teacher
manifestation.
of 4th graders. I didn't mean to.
It was like the thing that we said sometimes say. It was like that black boy joy manifesting in my bones, and I was like, I'm dancing, because I asked Eric afterwards, like, was that too much? I did not mean to dance. I did not mean to. It came out naturally. That's why I'm not even paying attention to Rob at the time.
Yeah. No, you do you. I think it was fantastic, and obviously you felt strong. You felt good, because here's where Eric comes back. Is you basically, I think at this moment, as you started off saying, the whale can be a cursed title. It's great in the short term if you can hang on to it and eke some cash. But what we've seen in the last few seasons is that whales rarely make it to the finish line. So you knew that by being targeted, you now had a big target on your back. And I assume you were trying to get a time boost, get some kind of protection, some kind of edge. That makes sense, right?
Yeah.
Strategically speaking. And you had 18 categories to choose from at that moment. And you went after our buddy Eric. Now, talk us through. Were there any other contenders? Were you thinking of some other categories? You kind of you like Eric? You felt it was a safer shot? Why'd you pick Eric is my point.
So my logic at the time, I already knew that of the singles, majority of them touched that category. So I knew I would have had to battle for my life the whole time. I was familiar with Critters because Marcus was by me the whole time. Billionaires was by me the whole time. So if they decided to attack me, I was okay defending their category of billionaires and crawlers, creepy crawlers. So I was like, I'm not going to touch them at all. I had a gentleman's pact with Terry that I wasn't going to do anything until episode 9. They actually cut that out because I actually said, "Hey,
Did
Terry."
we roll our eyes, Eric? Did we roll our eyes there?
No, that was a laugh. That was a genuine laugh.
No.
I didn't know about
I
the
rolled my eyes.
pack.
Roll your eyes at me. What I do, Kathy? What I do?
We knew you and Terry were not going for each other. You guys were having a love fest. It was like, oh.
You could see that the
Lisa's
whole
like,
time they were like,
they
you
didn't
and me in
even
the
talk
end.
to me. They were just
Yeah.
talking to each other.
I see that.
So I was going through the logic of I can defend those two, and they're possibly going to play tonight. Now I need to go to something that I might can get. I have to do 3. So what 3 am I going to do? And so that left change makers, travel accessories, and then I had a secret other plan if I did travel accessories. So I have a history degree. So I felt I could dominate change makers, but change makers wasn't by anything else I wanted to do. What I wanted to do was go against Eric, hope for the luck of the draw, because I knew it was going to be a time battle against him. You know, you either know it or you don't know it. Because surprise, surprise, I hadn't studied travel accessories at all. I was just like, it's going to be what it's going to be. But I wanted boy bands. I literally
was gonna
wanted
say,
boy
were you
bands.
working up to boy bands? Yeah.
I wanted boy bands because I grew up with TRL, LFO to 98 Degrees to
Yeah.
Jackson 5. I
Yeah.
like, let's put it up there. Menudo's already been up there, but all the boy bands, and then I'm just going to defend, which my family was like, you should just took yourself back down to the floor. But I was like, I was going to have to play regardless. Eric proved that I would have to play
Yeah, and you would have
regardless.
had. You said you were a nerd. You know, you would have had nerdy characters going back. I don't think that would have been terrible for you to defend. You know, but hindsight, it's 2020. But I think at that point, you feel everybody on your heels. At that point, I feel like you're trying to outrun the rest of the floor. Like, where can I run faster, get to it, find a safe place that nobody wants to come after me, and prove yourself, a dominant force where people may not want to come after you. And if you could have dominated travel accessories, then boy bands, gotten your time boost, hunkered down in the corner, that might have, really worked out well. I think with Masked Singer having the boy band's theme night, it was a bit of a teaser that for folks who were watching the floor consistently might have expected, the game to move up to that corner last night, and it didn't. And I was like, I was kind of thinking it might. So travel accessories, you're right. This is a speed duel, and Slim, God, I love that guy. I wish he'd lasted longer. He is an epic personality, at least in the editor's cuts. He seemed like a nice dude. I'm pretty sure he was an alternate, right?
He was.
He inherited medicine. But what a fun guy. He basically said, well, this is a speed duel. Sometimes there are knowledge duels and sometimes there are speed duels. And this is a speed duel. He had that really good, quick, like reality moment there. And he's right. This is something you either kind of know or you don't. And you'd all just traveled for the show. So everybody has packed a suitcase. So at some point, this was something most people could be competitive in. But Eric had been sitting on it since what, Eric? Episode 2? Episode
3.
1? Take me back. Episode 3. So you've had a few rounds to live with this category.
Right.
Yeah, that's right, because you took it from Kenny, right? In
right.
the Rappers Duel.
That's right.
Okay. So we think he's got the speed advantage. He says as much in his editor's cut. And so we're waiting for it. And it did come down to speed, but only what did I write down? 5 seconds. Eric finished with 5 seconds. That's a time boost. That's a moment for Rob to go, see? The time boost, everybody. It's worth getting. It's a difference maker. And I would agree in that duel, it could have made a difference. Any of those slides now looking back that you thought were bad, ambiguous, ridiculous, or was it all just fair game and you just missed and skipped fairly? Like
Tote bag.
Tote bag.
I still say it's a beach bag. My mama says a beach bag. I'm from
Is it?
South Carolina. We
Reddit-
call it a beach bag.
Reddit is taking up for Devin. They said Devin should have got that.
I like that. Now, I've also heard the travel bag should have been called a duffel bag or some other form of bag. They're all bags, right? At what point are you going to ask it to be a super specific bag, or are you just going to call it a bag? And in that moment, I think beach bag, because it did have that kind of canvasy.
No, LL
beachy
Bean would
straw.
totally
But it's a
disagree
tote.
with you.
I mean, we call it a tote bag. It didn't have a monogram though, Kathy. If it had had the LL Bean monogram,
You have to send that in.
yeah. Oh, that's true. It would have been funny if it had like RHL for like Rob Hepler Lowe, and we'd all be like, "Oh yes, it's a tote bag. It's an LL Bean tote bag, Mr. Lowe's tote bag." But okay, fair enough. That's one. What about you guys, Eric, Kathy? Any of those slides going back, going, like what? That was weird.
I think it is funny that in the moment, I still don't even know what that's called, but I guess the luggage thing
The
that I was
luggage-
calling
luggage
it
rack, folding
luggage rack, that I was calling it a lawn chair, or
Lawn
I was just
I know.
because I've seen that thing before, but I honestly I think that day I realized, oh, like someone had told me like, oh, that's for your luggage. I've never used that for my luggage ever. So I just put my luggage on, like, my suitcase on the floor or on
Yeah.
the spare bed.
Yeah.
But like I've never used that thing for.
When
for
I was a
luggage.
kid, I sat on it. When I was a kid, I thought it was like a little bench. I didn't know it was for luggage either until I was a grown up. So I'm totally with you on that. I can see that lawn chair. cracking
You all
up, though.
need to get more catalogs.
Yeah, yeah, that is true. This is very much a mom like travel catalog, right?
The LL
Um,
Bean catalog. Jordan needs the IKEA catalog.
Yep.
We need the
Yes.
What a callback! Oh my god.
Jordan. Love seat, sofa, circular sofa, triangular sofa, hemispherical sofa. I mean, God bless him. That was great. And the safety lock one threw me for a loop. I guess 'cause
my
I'm-
17-year-old daughter yelled that out. We are all looking at her. and she
You're
was
a
like,
good
"You gotta
mom,
Protect
Kathy.
yourself.
You're a
Like-
good mom that she knew that. I didn't recognize it. Bottle opener. I was like, sure. I don't know why you travel with it, but I don't know what that is. And then
Wait,
the-
Edgy.
Yeah,
I
please,
gotta say
go ahead.
this. Two things. I do travel with a bottle opener because I've been too many places where I wanted to open a bottle and I could not open the bottle because I did not have a bottle opener.
Good man.
And two, I knew at that point, I've seen it on TikTok now, the door lock, but as a man, I am not fearful of someone coming into my room at any point in time. If you coming in there, I guess let's lay our
We're
hands.
gonna throw down.
Yeah, let's scrap. Let's do this. Person who's in my room at the wrong time.
Yes. You are lucky. I assume that you also do not carry your car keys in the position of posting the car through the knuckles so that you can hit somebody, or that you always
Maybe.
park under a street light, or you always check your
Oh.
back seat. All
I
the
do
other
all
things
those
that women
things.
deal with.
No, I actually do that too because my wife listens to Crime Junkies all the time. So no,
All right,
I
good
do
man.
that for other reasons.
It's not gender. You know what? Safety is not gender specific, but there is unfortunately a disproportionate number of violent crime committed against women.
Yeah,
And
fair.
most of the ladies were taught to carry your car keys in a defensive position and throw your purse
Gotta
bandolier
Wolverine 'em.
style over your shoulder. So yeah. And Eric, you observe the protocol. I can see you nodding like yes.
Oh
I'm
yeah,
aware.
I've done all those things, all the above, and I knew that was the lock because I knew it went viral on TikTok like for a long time. My wife, well, my now wife, but at the time my fiance, we had bought the little.
You love calling her your wife.
I know.
love that.
I love overusing
that.
it now. I love it. But we bought that little lock and the little door jammer that makes the loud sound. We were like, we don't want any surprises in our hotel rooms. So
That's really smart now. It's on my list. It's on my list of things to get because I thought I had prepared well, but I always love learning. The floor, it is a good educational tool. And
It's a
Americans
PSA.
are safer for it. Thank you, Mr. Lowe. I will also say, I have to say the SIM card threw me because with scale, the way that it was outlined, I thought it was like a size thing, like a small bag, medium. I didn't even notice it was a phone. I don't know. Visually, I thought it was trying to show luggage sizes, like when you travel and you have like whether your carry-on can go on the plane, the overhead compartment. Look at it again and tell me I'm not crazy. But anyway, that one threw me. Otherwise, it was a great duel, guys. You really did well. And Devin, wish you could have stayed longer because you're a great, personality on the show, obviously. I would have loved to have seen you, bust out some more dance moves, but you were gracious in defeat. I think you and Eric were probably friends off off the floor, in the hotel.
Just the
chatted.
night before.
We didn't have too many conversations, but it was always cordial for sure.
Okay, good. Well, he wasn't
There's a-
Terry.
there's a
I know.
picture of us
nobody,
drinking the
nobody
night
can be
before.
your Terry. I know, but it went great. And then Eric, I think, obviously, wait a minute. Before we go on, let's talk about friends on the floor for a minute. We talked a little bit. You and Terry have a bromance. Eric, you were a bit of an island over there for a while. Was there anybody you connected with on the floor?
Yeah, I mean, Chef Steven and Mary Ellen were like my two like combo partners, and then I spoke to a little bit of everyone. This season was really fun because a lot of people would just like walk up to you and introduce themselves, like, "Hey, I haven't spoken to you yet." Safat actually did that at one point, but yeah, like my little corner. I mean, it's literally just the three of us, maybe four, depending on how things move, and you just converse with the same people every time.
Yeah.
And
You
so
do.
I think a lot of my banter was with Chef Steven and Mary Ellen, but Clarion was there, and then a few other people were around as well.
Well, by the time you get to episode 9, Kathy, right? I mean, you're now
Right.
guys going into the top 25. I mean, you've been there a few days, and the opportunity to ride the bus, more often. The number of people on the bus is shrinking.
I
There's
had
more
dedicated
opportunity.
bus partners.
Who were your
I
bus
was very bus monogamous.
Okay.
But
Monogabus? Monogabus. Huh?
But there were 4 of us that held court in the lounge, and the night before this episode happened, these 2 joined us. So we actually got to spend time the night before.
That's great.
And that's when I got to meet Eric and talk to him and find out what an amazing human being he is. Yeah.
He is an amazing human being.
Devin sat on the other side of me.
Yes. So
I encourage everyone to go look at one of Mark's latest posts, Mark Fortune 500, because he has a selfie video, but you could see us in the back that
In the
night,
background.
and the only one talking super loud is Devin. Just everyone else is just having a regular conversation, but Devin's the only one just going at it. And I don't remember what Devin was ranting about, but we were all having a good time.
that is awesome. And I know we talked just a bit before we started the pod, and I want to get back to that about the floor friendships and our first floor friends. I found out this week after watching Instagram posts that Ryan Allen Barnett, my floor friend, Mr. Peacock from season 2, has been connecting with
He's
Kathy
my friend.
because they're in Denver. Yes. And I said,
and we
you know,
call
he's
each other
the-
cousins.
Oh, cousins. I love that. We
Yeah.
met. We were each other's first floor friends. We were the 1st
Mhm.
floor contestants that met each other upon arrival in Ireland for filming. And so I had asked who your floor friends were, your original ones. And I can't remember, Kathy, who you said. Remind me.
Clarion was my first one, and then Kent was my second one.
Clarion and then Kent. And then Devin, who's from Nashville, just like Mina and Holly from season 2. Jen Livingood, one of the producers, who's
Yep.
also a Nashvilleian. Do you say Nashvilleian? I just made that up. Is that a real thing?
I'm a transplant. Don't ask me questions
Okay,
like
fair
that.
All right, and obviously Tony, one of our favorites, and Devin are from Nashville too. So I'm excited being in St. Louis. I'm going to take a little road trip and see some floor friends in Nashville soon. But you were saying that you met Tony first because you were both at the Nashville airport taking the same plane.
Yeah.
And spotted each other. Tell us about that.
So it was interesting. I didn't realize leaving Nashville was it till like the layover and the connecting flight in Chicago, where you have to go to your international flight section, and 2 black people going to Ireland. I was like, this seems odd, and so I just walked over her and whispered, "Road trip," and she looked at me and said, "Math," and that's, and then we just left it at that because when you're first going on the going onto the floor, it feels so secretive and you're so guarded. I didn't want to be like a secret shopper trying to catch me off guard that you spilled the beans. Now you're off the show.
Yes.
and so we just kind of hush. And then when we got to Ireland, I was the first one off the plane. So I see my name on the little sign for the driver. And then Tony came, and then there was 2 more people that got into the car with us. And it was Kenny and Mari. And they're like holding hands, carrying everyone's luggage. And so me and Tony are confused. Because I looked at her, she looked at me, and I was like, do they know each other? And like in the biblical sense, know each other? Because I'm confused. I thought we were supposed to be single individuals.
Yes, he said
I so confused. And so found out that they are the Bachelor, but me and Tony actually didn't talk until after I was gone because he kind of kept guarded.
You get paranoid, right? You get a ton of NDA disclosures, a ton of legal documents, a ton of briefings that's like, you can't tell your mother, your priest, your brother, your daughter, anybody that you're doing this, or, you risk being eliminated. So it makes sense that you were very guarded.
Fun fact, Angie, on
Yes.
the way to the hotel, our car broke down, and me and Kenny had to push a car in Ireland.
You're kidding.
No.
Well,
No.
you both had the muscles for it, I suppose. You made quick work for it.
But he
Did
couldn't.
Kenny take the
He
shirt
couldn't
off?
get it in neutral. He couldn't get the car in neutral.
Did Kenny
So-
take his shirt off? I think it was warm. It was the summer. I'm just saying, for Kathy and me, could you paint a picture of that moment? How hard did you push? What was he wearing? Sorry, this is terribly inappropriate. Kenny, I'm
Wait,
sorry.
your
you're lucky.
Mercedes broke down?
Yeah, it broke down, and he couldn't get the car into neutral, so he is cursing in Gaelic or whatever going on, and so Kenny and
Did you
I.
ask him how to sing Happy Birthday while he was there?
So a random driver actually took us the rest of the way, and I looked at Kenny and I was like, "Who about to pay for this?" Because I'm not.
That
This
is a
is-
great story, though. I can totally hear the driver now, feck. I love that. I was saying feck coming back because I was like, I'm not a cursor really, but I was like, feck is just such a cute way of saying the other word. So I was saying
Yeah.
feck a lot. How about Eric? Who was your first floor friend? The first person you met knowing you were going to be filming the floor together?
Actually, interestingly enough, the very first person that even approached me, because I was going in thinking that I was going to be very like on an island solo. Like I would have made friends. I'm not like a person who's standoffish, but I wasn't like going in like I'm gonna like, because that to me that was like opportunity cost. Like I could be studying instead of going out. But the first person that actually invited me, and I'll say it this way: it's a person who actually didn't end up on the show for other production reasons, but they are a well-known reality star. I'll put it that way. But they didn't make it, or they didn't.
He was my first bus buddy.
But he
Hey,
approached
off
me.
the pod, you're going to have to fill me
Oh,
in.
for sure.
Thanks.
But he was the
And
first person
NDA.
to invite me out, of course. He was the first person that invited me out, and we actually went to a really dope like nightclub, and amongst that crew was Priscilla and Jordan as well. And we after some nightclub time, we actually went to an impromptu house party. So we just went to a stranger's house or
That's
apartment
fantastic.
in Ireland. We went to a house party, and that was the first night
Wow.
of
See,
my
I've
time
gotta-
in
I've
Ireland.
got to put myself out there more. I love that.
They
That is a
invited
great
me.
Story.
They
it
invited me
wasn't-
out. I said no.
Really? Did you recognize who he was?
No, I did not.
Okay. Because I didn't know who he was until I found out. And then I was talking to my son, and he knew exactly who he was because I hadn't seen that.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting.
My
Mom-
mom knew who he was.
Really?
My mom's a big fan. My mom knew who
Oh.
he was.
Look at
That's
that.
fun.
Well, so Mary Ellen wasn't your first friend, which is probably good because she is somebody you dismissed from the show last night. Sadly, she seemed like a fun, plucky spirit too, but she just didn't get to hang on with Changemakers. I thought Changemakers was a fantastic category. I didn't know
It
what it
was.
was going to be, but the idea of what it could be made a lot of sense to me. My mind was pumping automatically with, innovators and ethicists and philosophers and political activists, like all of the people. And it was watching it, I'm like, yes, those are the things I thought I might see. Now, I can't say I recognized every single one of them, but I think most of them were fairly, recognizable for most of us. So were there any that you guys remember being like, who? I think Angela Davis threw some people off if you weren't into feminist politics, but anybody else?
Well,
Who
I'll
have
tell you
been
right
hanging out
now.
with Eric?
Well, I'll tell. Oh, that's actually so funny. So, okay. Side note: I actually was on the way over here because I listened to Professor Angela Davis do a lecture, and I just got my book signed
Good.
by her.
What?
So amazing how timing works. That is exactly where I just came
were
from.
you able to have a back and forth? Like, first of all,
No,
I've met
it was
her- I've
super
met her-
quick. They were
gosh, I
getting
met her
people
like
out of
20
there.
years ago when I was an undergrad. I met her at a similar, like a talk. But gosh, it was like forever ago. Shirley Chisholm too. First African-American woman in Congress. I met her too. She was fab. So many cool change makers that I've been lucky enough to meet and greet over the years. But just like today, you saw Angela Davis and your show last night with Angela. That's
just like an
great.
hour ago. It's so amazing how time works. It's
That's
almost like Fox planned that, which they
So
didn't.
tell me about her. Tell me about the exchange. How'd it go?
Well, it was just very quick. I mean, I literally brought my autobiography or her autobiography, and I brought that, and I had her sign that in the program because you could only get 2 maximum, and you just have to go in, say hi. I was just said, hey, thank you so much, grateful, and then you get nudged along, and so that's how
Good
it
for
went.
you.
But the
That is
lecture was
so-
really good too.
That's so special. I love that. I had no idea. What a fun little thing to bring up, especially since she's the one that I think, like I said, she's a little more of maybe an esoteric intellectual figure, not necessarily a super pop culture icon. Like Gloria Steinem, I think you've seen her face more, right? I mean, she was the face of the feminist movement because the feminist movement initially was kind of a white woman's movement. And then, of course, you had minority women saying, we don't all share the same struggles. We don't all share the same stripes. You can't speak for us. We need our own voice. And then you had more multiplicity in that time. But yeah, to see her up there, I thought that was cool. Anyway, I'm sorry, I'm geeking out with my academic background right now.
No,
I'll
as you
pull it
should.
back.
As you should.
but
I
it was
will
exciting.
say, I think for me, so I mean, you don't know until you watch like which ones your opponent got, and you know there were times like Devin did where I was kind of peripheраling, but you know I didn't want to do that the whole time because I didn't want to get distracted. But long story short, the ones that Mary Ellen had, some of those photos I would like. I know watching it last night or whenever we watched it. Yeah, it would have been last night. That photo of Toni Morrison, I would not have gotten that.
I
I-
agree. I
yeah.
agree. That was not the iconic Tory. Like, there's a lot of Toni Morrison like book jacket cover iconic images, and that was not one I had ever seen before. So I agree that threw me. How about you, Kathy? You too? You said?
Yeah, no, and it's so I love that the show can hit so many different ages because my youngest, the 17-year-old who got the safety latch, she hates sports. I'm a huge sports lover, but she saw it and she's like, Jackie Robinson. And I'm like, I love you.
Yeah, and Colin Kaepernick, Eric's
Yeah.
doppelganger.
Right?
Yeah, I know that it probably went much deeper. I expected Greta Thunberg to be on there and some other folks, so I'm sure there were more in the list.
My husband kept yelling out Rosa Parks,
Yes,
just randomly yelling out Rosa Parks.
yes.
So
yes.
it's like,
Yes, I thought it was done really well. The internet today was all persnickety. That's a word my
I know.
grandparents used. I love that word about Jane Fonda, and I was like, do your research a little bit. Love her or hate her, she did a ton of stuff with civil rights, a ton of stuff with Native American rights, a ton of stuff with feminist rights. I mean, she was very much a civil rights advocate, regardless of her position on the Vietnam War. So I just wanted to put that out and kind of correct the
Which,
record for people. who are
funny,
hating.
right? Because then, I know I'm jumping ahead, but then Ted Turner ended up in a
Yeah, he did.
Cool.
He did. Plus, let's not forget what Jane did for exercise. Jazzercise Kathy. Am I wrong? I mean, she kind of single-handedly
there. That's where she
spearheaded
made
the
her change.
aerobics movement in the
You know,
80s.
it could have been that kind of change in health and wellness
Exactly.
and fitness.
Exactly right, my friend. I just wanted
Yeah.
to just
Yeah,
set that record
there we go.
straight for all the
Thanks
haters
for
out there.
getting me in there.
I think that's awesome. I mean, you're a teacher too, jazzercise instructor. Eric, your slide said nonprofit analyst.
Yeah.
Among
I don't know.
any,
I think you make a
many
great
things.
teacher, though. You've got just like a cool, I think, a teacherly vibe. No offense. If you ever want a career shift,
I
education, think
was
you'd
a
be great.
teacher for a year and a half, and
There you
it didn't work out. It didn't work out. It wasn't the kids either. I think every teacher knows what I mean by that. It wasn't the kids,
I
but
feel
it
that.
didn't work
I
out.
feel that. It is a labor of love, and it can be difficult because parents and administrators can make it difficult. It's one of the reasons I teach college. I eliminated the parent side of that anyway. Get rid of the squeaky wheel. Okay, let's go on to Slim, my man, comes up for medicine. At this point, Eric, you're going for that time boost. You've made it clear you don't love nerdy characters. You want to have the buffer if you can get it. You tackle medicine. Again, did you pick medicine because you knew Slim had just recently kind of inherited it, being a backup? Were there other categories that were on your radar as well?
So there were actually 2 main reasons I chose medicine. The primary reason was because I had just recently crammed that, and I wanted to get it out of my head before I completely forgot. And so what you saw on stage was me like brain vomiting the cramming that I just did previously. And then honestly, part of me was just like, Slim is such a great guy and such a great character. I was like, let's get him some airtime. Not that I was being a benevolent challenger, but I was like, let's get him some airtime. And I think he'd really appreciate it because he was so excited to be there. And
He
now that I
was-
think about it, like I should have probably went a different route so he could stay longer. But he was so excited to be there. So I was like, let's get Slim some airtime. And so those were my two main reasons for going for medicine.
See, I watched it live last night, well, in real time with my friend Tim, Extreme Sports from season 2.
Oh,
Hey, my
made-
floor twin. My
He's
floor
your floor
twin.
twin, Devin. I wanted to give you a shout out. Yes. And you both had your moment in the same episode
Yeah.
9 of your season. It was very
Yeah.
strange for
Aw.
him to watch it happen again. But Tim's lovely human, and we're really good friends. So we FaceTime each other and we just sit on the couch and watch it and play together in real time. And he said at one point, he's like, how was Slim not the original choice? Like, why was he even a backup? We could not understand how some other people were on there and he wasn't. We're like, he seems to me to be a casting director's dream. So I'm at least thrilled he got on. And like you're saying, Eric, I think he's great. He made for good TV. We liked him. Medicine was tough, I thought. I think Tim and I said that we thought it'd be more medical related items like a gurney, an IV pole, things related to medicine, not necessarily brand name medicine. And as someone who's not, I don't have a full medicine cabinet. I do, thank God for antidepressants like Zoloft saved my life, putting it out there in the universe. Mental health, important. But I don't take a lot of pills, generally speaking. And so some of those I would have just read, Rift, right? Advil, Excedrin, Tylenol, like just hoping to hit one because it was hard for me to differentiate. Were you prepared for that? You said you'd studied. Were you studying brand names? Were you aware that it was kind of a subcategory for that?
I don't recall what my inkling was, but all of my studying was over-the-counter medicine.
I feel like it said that.
Yeah, it
On
might
the
have been
category
like a
sheet,
note.
I bet it gave you that parentheses, OTC medicine.
Mhm.
Okay.
And so that's all I studied. And kind of like what you just mentioned, Angie, like you'll notice that like I was kind of riffing on some of them to the point where I'm surprised the internet hasn't said like, oh, Eric said pass a bunch of times, but they still gave it to him. And even though I did say it before I said pass, but I know some people kind of get upset whenever even if you say the correct answer and then say pass, they're like, oh, he said pass, he shouldn't have got it. So I actually haven't seen that on the internet yet. But yeah, that was my thing, was just getting the over the counters out of my head.
Yeah, I thought it was great. You guys did a really good job. There was a good range of, medications and, it was a good category. It was challenging. So poor Slim had to go. And, at this point you've got your time boost. You're like, "Phew, I did it. I've collected, I've dominated. I'm going back. I know that I'm likely, statistically speaking, to play again tonight because you're only halfway through, but let's just see what happens." And thankfully, the next randomizer picked an island of sorts. The guy buffered between the time boosts, right? So we have Andrew, who'd inherited puppets earlier in the season. Kevin, excuse me, went for Andrew, who inherited puppets. Thank you, Kathy. And they went up there, and I thought it was great. It was what we all expected puppets to be. I mean, there was a great diversity, historicity. There were some old, some new, some stand-up, some television, movies. I think they hit the gambit all across the board. Again,
I'll take a little credit for this one. They were both really close friends of mine, and I helped them study. And I made sure they knew all the Mr. Rogers ones. So Lady Elaine and Daniel Tiger, those.
Congratulations, because Lady Elaine is one that a lot of people don't get. She's
No.
kind of creepy looking. I'm gonna be
She
honest.
looks like my high school guidance counselor.
Was her name Elaine too? Because that
No.
would be strange. Okay. But yeah, that one's a little creepy looking. Some of those old puppets are kind of creepy looking. Not that your guidance counselor was creepy, but some of them are creepy. And Chucky, very creepy. That was an interesting inclusion there.
I'm happy
Devin,
Slappy made it. I'm happy Slappy made it from Goosebumps,
Slappy-
like
yes,
the childhood.
I'm happy Skeeter got some airtime.
Skeeter
Yeah,
in the
cousin
end,
Skeeter. Yep.
Yep.
Shout out to Megan Good, my first crush from when I was a kid. I know you are married to Jonathan Majors now, but you're still up there, man. You was on my cousin Skeeter, but anyway, I'm sorry, Angie.
No, don't be sorry. I love that.
100%
I love that for
cosign.
you. I'm so glad. I thought it was great. I thought Puppets was good. And obviously Andrew's smart. He's like, look, I'm buffered by time boost, man. I'm good. I'm going back. Great strategy. No problem. Then we get nerdy characters. Finally. I was waiting.
Finally.
I was waiting for it. I was so excited. And Eric, I was a little surprised that you were wary of the topic, but I guess maybe there's 100 topics. You got to pick some that just aren't speaking to you. And you had your time boost, so you were ready to defend, I would hope. And basically, we ended up seeing that play out. And we got Mr. Marcus, who said that he liked things that were creepy, which he looks like such a nice. He's from Tennessee too, I think I saw, but he looks
Yeah,
like
he
a
lives
nice
in Memphis.
Midwestern boy. The creepiness was
Oh, he
kind of
does?
there. So you know, but he seemed sweet and he seemed nice.
Marcus
He
is
had,
good people.
he had a nice
Yeah.
smile. He was an affable fellow. What? I don't know how to say. He's a nice looking young man. I can say that.
He's
That's
a
not
model
creepy.
actor.
Is he a model / actor?
That's
Yeah,
right.
because I saw software developer and I went, okay, yeah, right. That may be your backup job, but with hair like that, dude, you're wasting your hair if you're developing software. Like, get that face out in a camera. So I'm glad to know that he's working it. Marcus, well done. Okay, anyway. So Marcus goes after nerdy characters. I thought that was what we expected it would be. Except we have, I believe this was Eric's moment to fall asleep.
Yeah.
And gosh, son, you have to talk me through that because you're a veteran. What happened? Were you just like in the zone and just kind of losing an edge at that point? Tired, fatigue? I'm giving you some outs here.
No,
Tell me.
for sure. That could have been a little bit of it. But honestly, what I thought it was, and this sounds silly because it's always a screen share. It's all coming from some computer to a monitor. I for a minute, for a split second, or longer than a split second, really, I just thought that I was seeing what Marcus was seeing. That's it. Like, because I knew the answer, and they didn't show it, but I like smirked because I remembered studying Amy. But I was like, oh, Marcus isn't getting it. Okay, so I guess I'm gonna win. And then I was like, oh wait, no, that's me. That's my screen. And so then that's when I said Amy. So yeah, and I think actually, and they didn't do the audio, but I do want to thank the audience, especially, or not the audience, but the team, especially Kathy, for waking me up because that time boost kind of went to waste.
Yeah, I was in pain and I just couldn't stop myself.
Yeah, well,
Right.
we were in pain too, and you're right. I mean, thank goodness you had the time boost. Like, thank goodness, because it saved you in that respect, I think. But Tim and I both, we were shouting, Amy Farrah Fowler, Amy Farrah Fowler. And we're like, wake up, Eric, wake up, Eric. I was so invested in you. And I was like, oh, this can't be how it ends for him. And thankfully it didn't. And, I would have liked to have seen Marcus on the show longer. I'm sorry he didn't last. But I'm saying that from a competitor, good sportsmanship.
Sure.
Yeah. I'll let
Lie
Marcus
detector
know.
test
We
right
like
now.
models who like creepy things, for sure.
Yeah.
Models who like creepy things. It's my fetish. What can I say? Okay, moving on. I'm kidding.
Hey.
I'm kidding. It's yeah. Okay, let's go to aviation. Aviation. Let's fly out of that category before I get into more trouble. Ha ha. Whack whack. Brian's back for aviation. And I have no hate toward Brian. I like Brian a lot. He seems like a super great guy. He's got a lot of money in his pocket.
Good guy.
I can't wait to see how the rest of his game plays out. But I really like Anthony too. And so I think of all the people to get out in that sense, I really want Anthony to stay. He's been on this show before. Super fun guy. I really like him. And so I was sad to see him go. And it was sad to see him stumble over some things like aircraft carrier, that some of us thought, like, come on, man. But, everybody can stumble over anything at any time. You just don't know how stressful it can be up there. So I was sad that Anthony got beat. Brian, of course, held his own again. But now he's got haunted locations. I'm a little worried for him. I got to say, that is not one that I think is a popular culture knowledge base like aviation probably could be. So what do you guys think haunted locations will be? Any predictions?
Man,
I'm curious. That's a category that I'm confused by.
I didn't study because it is broad. It's like, am I going to get cemeteries, old building of some sort, or is it something very specific like the house in Amityville? Like, this is weird. I'm like, haunted locations. Like, once again, those are like I said to Tony. Hey, Tony, nope. I don't want no parts of that because I have a basis of knowledge, and it is nowhere on that base. so time to move on.
And a lot of haunted houses look the same. They're dark and gloomy, and they have like dormers and gables and webs and whatever. I don't know how to differentiate one haunted house from another. So you're right. Like, how exactly is that going to play out?
Bermuda Triangle. That's what I'm doing. I'm just pointing at stuff.
There you go.
I just predict it's basically going to be landmarks, but haunted landmarks, and I wouldn't even know how you study for that because
Yeah.
like
So I don't know if Brian's going to have the time to cram, unless he's been doing it, because he has been next to Anthony for a while, because he hasn't been up to duel in a few weeks. So he probably has had the ability to prepare. So we'll see. It's coming up. We know that. So we get to critters. Now here's the thing. I like Marcus. We already know that. I don't know why I keep saying that. It's really ridiculous. I'm a ridiculous human right now. This is so silly.
You're a middle-aged woman who has a microphone and stuff just spills
It
out.
just comes out, Kathy. Am I right?
Exactly. Believe me, I know
That's the
how that
podcast
can happen.
industry.
Right? Yes. So let's just talk about the category. Call me the disappointed, because it was just Bugs Part 2. I am sorry. You saw Devin earlier, I believe. You said creepy crawlers. And I think that's a fabulous mistake made on the name of the category, because it should have been creepy crawlers. Critters, to me, when I think of critter, I'm thinking squirrels, moles, rats, ferrets, like little furry things, or woodland creatures. Like a critter to me is not an insect, but technically speaking, it's any small, animal or insect. I just thought it was Bugs Part 2. I thought they had leftover slides from season 1, and they just decided to reuse them for season 3.
Critters. Like, to be honest, Angie, about that whole thing, like I said, I was comfortable defending critters, but my whole logic, I never studied it because it was too broad, and I was like, I'm a science teacher, I should know this regardless of what it is. And Marcus was trying to plot Battle of Tennessee the whole time. I appreciate Marcus's forthright, because from episode 1, he was like, Devin, I'm coming after you, I'm coming after you, I'm coming after you.
Really?
Yeah, and I was like, okay, Marcus, you're going to lose terribly, but
no wonder why you gravitated towards Terry.
I had 2 people actively going after me the whole time.
Right?
Terry, I need you.
Yeah. While Kaylee was sure I was going to come after her, which, to be fair, true.
You were.
But yeah, it was a weird dynamic that he was very forthright, and I was like, why are you coming after me? Because I want to go that direction. I didn't know that direction was where a significant other was, but but he was like, I'm going to go through you. And so I looked at what Marcus had, and I was like, I teach science. I think I got it. I'm not studying that. I'm not even going to go your direction. And so I was kind of disappointed, too, in that a lobster, really?
A lobster is not
A lobster? Come
I know.
on.
A mosquito?
I thought they would at least have like lice and fleas and stuff like that. Like,
That's what I'm saying. Like, I was like, come on, no. Anyway, I was bummed. I'm just gonna say I'm bummed. But we can pass on that. That's when we got Eric. You've got billionaires.
Yeah.
And
now we get the awkward part of the podcast.
I'm sad for this moment. I need to go get my tissues. I was really, really sad. I gotta say, I was just oof. And it was hard because, Kathy, I don't know you much. I've talked to Eric.
But I knew that
episodes.
coming on here would be difficult.
Oh, but the thing is, you're not a villain on this show by any stretch. And I follow you on Instagram, and you're a lovely human. And I was like, well, okay, I guess Kathy's my new favorite, because I still liked you, but I really like Eric, and I was really sad because I get kind of involved, and I wanted you both to stay, and it just sucked that you had to be the one to take him. And
that's why I said it's like the Hunger Games, right?
It is.
It really is.
But can we talk about the category itself? That was oof. I'm going to just, for the benefit of viewers, I'm just going to, Eric, you can plug your ears if this is triggering, but you started passing at 31 seconds and never stopped. And it was heart-wrenching. And at the same time, every image after you passed was successfully more obscure and ridiculous than the one before. And I will say, save for a couple, like Lubetsky, the founder of Kind. I knew him from Shark Tank. He's been more visible. A lot of those folks, like Phil Knight, come on.
Really? You didn't know Phil Knight?
I know who Phil Knight is. I don't see him.
That's a bad picture. That's a bad picture of him.
Yeah, the picture of him, I could not place the picture. I could not place the picture of,
I don't know why Ben Affleck ever got cast as Phil Knight.
No, well, no, that either.
Because I was just like, when I saw the movie Air, I was like, wow, just because you're the director, producer.
That's a stretch, right? That was
nobody else.
100% a stretch. Yeah, I wrote them down for the memory, but Jerry Jones, I recognized him because the Cowboy Redskin
And I should have
former
got Jerry
Redskin,
Jones.
now
I
Commanders.
I know
I
you
blame
can't go back to Texas.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Go back to Texas.
I don't go to Dallas and
Dallas
Arlington
game.
anyways. So
There you go. Texas is a
He
big
owns
state.
all of Texas.
It's a big state. You can find a niche. It's okay.
but it's funny. Last night I was like, "Oh, it's Jerry Jones," but during
Yeah.
the show I was
It
like,
didn't-
"I have no
not
idea who
that.
this is."
Mhm.
Well, and it was a very, I think, palpable shift from celebrity billionaires to non-celebrity billionaires. I mean, it was very much a 50-50. You had your Oprahs, you had your people that's like, oh yeah, Jay-Z, Oprah, of course, they all got lots and lots of money. And then these obscure, more businessmen and behind the scenes tech innovators that aren't in the public eye in the same way. And so your brain had to probably shift pretty quickly. And Jerry Jones, you might have been thinking, which old white male celebrity is that? And then you weren't thinking football coach. And why would you? I mean, we don't think coaches
Not a coach.
millionaires. It doesn't match. So I understood, but it just never got better. And I felt really bad that it had to end that way. Kathy, how are you feeling when Eric started passing? Like, were you just holding
It was
your breath?
Great.
No, Devin, you suck.
She's feeling 20,000 nice, all the positive, 20,000 positive feelings.
No, I mean, I don't look at the side one. So I was like, I don't know what he's getting, and they don't say the name.
Yeah.
So I didn't
No, they
hear.
don't. They don't.
So I was
So,
like,
watching it last night, like, would you, like, the ones he passed on, were you capable, do you think, in the moment to have identified those as well? Or would you have
so I
been
shared this.
thrown?
So I'll share it again. I know Eric's heard it. So Rob said something at the end of the duel that was edited out, and Rob ad-libs, and
Yes.
he's done this a few times where he says stuff that my ears don't really like the way it sounded. Like on another duel, he said something. So on this one, he finished and he goes, "Wow, Eric, you had the tough ones." And so in my moment of sheer happiness, I was like, "Oh, so I just got lucky." And like this seed started finding space in my head that was like, "You're not very good." So as we're leaving this set, I'm walking to the lunch space, and fear and self-doubt are like taking hold quickly. And it's so weird. I don't know how it happened, but Brian comes alongside me and he's walking, and all of a sudden he starts asking me a question. He goes, "Do you know what Jerry Jones looks like?" And I go, "You mean the NFL owner that got into the Hall of Fame before Pat Bowlen, the Broncos owner, did?" He's like, "Okay, you know Jerry Jones." And then he started asking the other ones. And I said, "Yes." And then he puts his hand on me and he goes, "You would have won anyway." And I didn't say anything. I don't know why he did it, but I was like, wow. So I actually called him on Thanksgiving and I said, "You made my gratitude list for the year." Because had I let that seed grow,
Yeah.
I would
You
have
would
been
have second guessed yourself and you wouldn't
I
have had
would've
any
been like,
edge going
yeah,
forward.
I
Because now you're the whale.
So,
And you needed that edge going in,
yeah.
right? Seriously. I mean, at this
Yeah.
point, at the end of the episode, you're going to be defending. And if
Yeah.
you had any self-doubt going into that mode as a defender, you're already under the gun and it would have grown. And you're right. And so I'm really glad Brian was there for you. I think that's
No, it was
a
very cool.
fantastic moment that you shared.
Yeah.
Both can be true. You could have known those, but they also were tougher. I
Right.
think both things are true. I think for the general audience at home, the first half was, we got this. The second half was, what the heck happened?
Yeah. Well, I know. Yeah. Some people said that on the floor too.
Yeah. So I
Yeah.
mean, but you would have done well, and I'm glad in that case that,
Yeah.
that
No, I
you
know.
won,
Yeah.
and that you're gonna hopefully carry this gauntlet into episode
If Rob
10
doesn't hold, anything against me for
and
picking
throw
his
down.
brother
Oh, for
over.
having Chad in your poster. I love that. Tim's like, Rob has a brother, and I'm like,
I know.
Yes. I was like,
All
Chad
the-
Lowe. All the girls know. All the boys are like, what?
The next day, all the PAs were like, "We had to Google who Rob's brother is." I'm like,
Dude,
You know
he
what?
had his own moment, and he was super cute and looks nothing like Rob. He's blonde. He's got a bigger mouth.
holding.
Whatever. He has less hair. He doesn't have
Yeah.
as big hair as Rob.
But no, I think the big winners of this season are Kevin Smith movies and Chad Lowe, because
Yes.
everybody's looking up
Yes,
both of them.
100%. There's a renaissance. There's gonna be this whole new Chad Lowe trend coming up. I can't wait to see what it is.
He pops up in the weirdest things, like Supergirl. He had a season.
Well, wasn't he married to Jennifer Garner?
No, Hillary Swank.
Or that's it. Sorry.
I do that too, Angie. I
Other
do that
long-haired
too.
brunette.
I do
Sorry.
that too.
Eric, you
It's
did that
that
too.
famous where she won the Oscar and she forgot to thank him. And
That's
he's just
right.
sitting there and he's just
Oh,
like,
oh yeah, I remember. And at that point they were just like, it was probably on the downhill at that point. That just sealed the deal. Who am I thinking of? Help me, celebrity people. The other
What?
guy, not Ben Affleck. He married Jennifer Garner after, but the other one who married Jennifer Garner, short
Well,
brown hair. Google it. somebody.
there was Scott Foley first.
That's it, Scott Foley, the
And
guy
then-
from Felicity.
Yeah.
Yep. I was just gonna say the Felicity guy. See, Kathy, you and I, we'd hang out.
I'm
We'd have a good
really
time.
good with names and faces.
Yeah.
So
It's why you
that's
won.
why-
Perfect show to be on.
It's a perfect show to be on. I was just about to say that.
And
That's
speaking
a
of,
great way to wrap that. That's a great point. Eric, go ahead.
I definitely just want to go on record for folks listening and say that Kathy won fair and square. I didn't know them, and yes, it's a very awkward randomizer because I was the only choice that she had. And
Yeah.
even watching it back, I laughed. Like it's just funny to see because when Rob does, let's get the lay of the land, and the only thing that pops up is
Yeah.
Billy
Yeah.
well,
Bear.
and you can hear the audible whoosh of
Yes.
air go out of the studio.
Yes.
It's like
You can choose
oh.
billionaires or you can choose billionaires. Like, I mean,
Right.
it's not like Devin who had like a smorgasbord of 18 options. I mean, you
I
had
should have
what you
chose
had.
billionaires. I should have chose
Yeah.
billionaires.
Kathy won
Well-
fair and square. Kathy is an amazing person. Kathy has always been sweet. If there's ever a person to lose to, and I said this, they edited it out. So if there's ever a person to lose to, I'm glad it was Kathy of all people. Because Kathy's amazing. And it's funny, the more I think about it and the more I play like, Monday morning quarterbacking, I
Yes.
just think like either way, I was kind of cooked because even if I won, I would have adopted murder mysteries.
Yeah.
And I have no idea how to study for that. Is it a bunch of books? And there's tons of murder mystery books. Is it like
Yeah.
movies, characters? Like I wouldn't know how to study for that.
Yeah.
And so it would have been a similar situation with Billionaires where I would have just been studying random stuff in the hopes that it showed up on the screen.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just want to put it on record that Kathy won fair and square.
Yeah,
There's
well,
no hard feelings.
That's kind.
You
Yeah,
know,
that's
the-
very
the-
kind.
The way the game works is there's very little you can control.
Mhm.
And when people talk about their strategy, you always if you've been on the show, you have to laugh because you're like, you're not in control, my friend. Now, mentally, it's important to have a good strategy and it's better to have some preparation. But once you inherited travel accessories, Eric, you knew that category alone was going to make you a target. And after that, you were just going to be on the defense until you got beat or until you won the whole thing, right? Like at some point, you're either going to run the table or you're going to run out of steam or you're going to run out of luck or something. And it just happens that way. And that is why people can win 6 duels, and not have money. And that is the way the show works. And so there are people saying, well, we need to change that and we need to pay per duel and somebody shouldn't win so many and not have any money. And it would be a different show if that were the case. I mean, the show is the floor, and it's like you own the floor or you don't own the floor, and you roll the dice every time you go up there, and you just can't anticipate what those slides will be or how you'll feel in the moment. And I think that's the fun and that's the challenge. And I think
And
all
I
play it
think
with
this
heart.
will be in the next episode, but Brian makes a statement about how we all love the drama about the show.
Yeah.
And that is, yeah.
And the people and when rooting for people. And I mean, all 3 of you are my favorite. I've got probably like 6 favorites, that I picked from the jump. I'm like, I want these people to go to the end. Now, we'll see. Some of them aren't on the list now. They can't go. But hopefully they'll do some kind of reunion show. We always say this on the pod because I think it would be fun after several seasons to have people back who did win and were contenders and, good players and hopefully well liked. And I think all 3 of you absolutely fit that profile. So regardless of how it ends for the season, I hope and will advocate that we see the 3 of you again if the show ever comes back. I think that'll be great. Now, do you have any predictions for winners? Now, some of you might know, so don't spoil it. I've been very good to stay in the dark for my own mental health and for the pod. I don't want to know who wins, but I want to know who you think might take it, especially Eric and Devin, since you're not on the floor now. Who's your choice to carry the torch?
Okay, I've been saying this from the beginning.
Terry.
2 people. No. No. I did find it funny though, because once you get eliminated, and you go to your separate hotels and whatnot, and I would text Terry. I'm like, hey man, what's going on? And he would not respond to any of my text messages during that period of time. And I'm like, what is this?
NDA, baby.
Hey, what? I'm your man's. come on, man. What's going on, Terry Bear? What's going on? Like, and so it was
He's not
funny.
Scary Terry. When you call him Terror Bear, the Scary Terry just goes away right now.
He's Scary Terry to all of y'all, but to me, he's my Terror Bear. That's what it is. And so, when he wasn't responding, I'm like, wouldn't that be funny if he ends up pulling out this impromptu victory? Because I do say, if you got randomized early and you took your one victory and sat back down, like Terry was able to do, like Lisa was able to do, and they just been chilling. Lisa's been chilling for like 65 duels, and no one's even attempted. And I thought about going against Lisa because I've been married twice. I know about weddings, so I could do something about it. But the people that I think about, Alex and David Madden, both have been on Jeopardy. Alex has been not only on Jeopardy, he was also on Cash Cab. He's used to this high-paced thinking trivia type of games. And then David, who is one of the highest-grossing Jeopardy winners of all time, has yet to be dueled, which, frankly, I say is unfair. I know probability is probability, but it is unfair that this man, who is supposed to be smart, has not had a chance to even show an inkling of what his knowledge base is. And I'll give it up to those two gentlemen, just because of the sheer practice of being on TV and doing
that sounded
shows.
like Mark's rehearsed speech about Fortune 500.
It did. Hey, Kathy, that's exactly what it sounded like. That was deja vu all over again. So what do you think? You put Mark in that mix, Kathy? Who are you thinking might make it to the end?
That's
Oh,
Eric looks skeptical, but
there's a whole thing. There's a whole
thing
thing with me and Mark. We need a whole nother podcast for that.
Please come back. Come back next week.
Yes, we'll do that at a different time.
All right, fair.
God put Mark next to me to teach me all kinds of lessons.
I love that. I love the way you think. I think you and I would be really good friends.
Yes.
I absolutely.
Okay.
Great.
I think because he's smart, but I also think because he's my friend and we've spent a lot of social time hanging out, and I've seen him prep Andrew.
Yeah. And he's got that really nice spot up there where he's buffered.
And he's proved how well he does up there. So
yeah, he's very poised.
Aside from me. But
aside from me, of course. Present company excluded.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, Eric, how about you?
in no particular order. My 3 predictions are Alex, Tony, Kathy. I know Kathy's dead center now, but I think Kathy can hold her own.
Well, she's dead center with her own category.
That's right.
And that may give her it may give people pause going for the whale if she's got her own category. I think when the whale has an inherited category, they are a much easier target for people. So this could be the edge that leaves Kathy alone for a few episodes. And I'd love to see you stick around, Kathy, and I'd love to have you back on the pod, of course, as I would Eric and Devin too. You guys are always welcome. This was a fun chat. I really, really appreciate you all for being here. And thank you, everybody, for listening. I hope you enjoyed the banter and the recap, and we'll do it all again next week. Everybody, take care.
Bye.
All right. Guys, that was so fun.
That was fun.
You're
That was a great
really,
episode.
really all just genuinely cool people. And Kathy,
I
think
was
you're